Nico Iamaleava is gone, but whoever quarterbacks Tennessee in 2025 gonna have the keys to the Ferrari. Oh yeah, I said it.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday morning and welcome into Locked On Vols, your number one spot for Tennessee football news and coverage, entertainment right here, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, we're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day, free and available wherever you get your shows. I'm Eric Cain, the host here at Locked On Vols, and I'm part of the On3 family over at volquest.com, where we do great work over there. And whether it's Locked On Vols, volquest.com, boy, we have got you covered the last couple of days through everything that's happened with the Nico Iamaleava situation. Going to continue that conversation here. And in the cold open, I probably caught some of you guys by surprise. I mean that. And I'm going to show my work here in a moment. What an opportunity. What an opportunity for whoever is going to be the starting quarterback at the University of Tennessee. And I'm going to spend a lot of time over the segments 2 and 3 answering your everydayers mailbag question shows, because as you'd suspect, there's quite a lot to talk about, quite a lot of emotions, and going to do my best to kind of work through that here on a Tuesday show. So appreciate you guys for being here. Andy and Ari over at On3, they went live Monday morning and they discussed this topic. I didn't listen or watch the show, but I saw some clips on social media and I agree with it. But even before that, I had one of my buddies, shout out Chandler Emerson, he texted me Monday morning and was like, where are the significant drop-offs of this football team? Separate conversation from Nico, but where are the significant drop-offs from this football team? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, you lost a lot of numbers at wide receiver, but honestly, and I mean no disrespect, because I like a lot of the guys in the room, it's kind of hard to be worse than where you were at wide receiver last year. Lack of explosives, injury situation, digression in a lot of cases. And yes, I understand there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of blind faith maybe, and I think Tennessee needs to go get a wide receiver in the transfer portal, but I like the makeup of that room. I like the athletic ability, and I don't see that unit being worse than what it was last year. Now, you need another body at least, but that's kind of where I'm at right there. So I said wide receiver, but hard to be worse. I said interior defensive line and defensive tackle, because they're just so beat up right now, and Tennessee plays so many, it wouldn't hurt to have another interior defensive lineman at defensive tackle. You lost Elijah Simmons, you lost Amari Thomas, you lost Norman Lott, and of course you bring back Bryson Eason, Jackson Moy, David Hobbs, Nathan Robinson, Jamal Wallace, but some of those guys didn't practice in spring. You had Ethan Utley, of course Isaiah Campbell, the former 5-star, but you obviously need some another body at defensive tackle, but I'm not worried about that either. So I said wide receiver, interior defensive line at defensive tackle, running back, you lost Dylan Sampson, and that's not nothing, but man, we've talked about it. I love the collection of running backs led by Deshaun Bishop and, of course, Peyton Lewis. So I'm not worried about running back. The offensive line, I think, can be better because I think they're going to be healthier, and I think that there's some athletic ability there, and I love the 2 transfer guards, and David Sanders has all the potential in the world. If you can find William Satterwhite to claim that center job and just see this group be off and running. So I said all that, and then I was like, well, the defense, I think it's still going to be salty. I think it's going to be salty for sure. So I'm sitting there texting my buddy, Danny White style, and I'm like, honestly, the roster, and again, we've had these conversations before, but it was kind of like a hit you across the head moment again to remind you, like, this roster is really good. And this roster is miles and miles and miles better than where it was this time 4 or 5 years ago when Josh Heupel took the job 4 years ago, and this program was in turmoil. And you didn't know who your quarterback was going to be, but you didn't know a lot of things were going to be. Sure, losing your starting quarterback, and again, I'm going to continue to reiterate this, did he live up to expectations year one as a starter last year? No, he did not. Was he abysmal and a total bust like everybody wants to make him out to be? Not everybody, but a lot of people want to make him out to be. No, he was not. Was he the reason Tennessee made the college football playoffs? No, he was not. He was a part of it. He was the starting quarterback, started every game. But you're losing that experience. You're losing, and I think we can all agree that if he figures it out, he's going to be a fantastic quarterback. All the potential's there in the world. You're losing a big talent. And not only are you losing a big talent, an experienced talent, you are losing that on April the 12th or whatever at the end of spring ball. So really, you're kind of behind the 8 ball here. So I'm thinking, is it Jake Merklinger? Is it true freshman George MacIntyre? Will it be somebody from the transfer portal? Who can that be? These are conversations and questions we just haven't had yet or don't have the answers to yet. This is continuing to evolve. It's continuing to develop. And the transfer portal opens on Wednesday. But what key names are going to be in there at the quarterback position? Nobody will top Nico Iamaleava. That is for sure. Some friends and people have been texting me like, well, could you see this quarterback? Could you see this quarterback? Could you see this quarterback? And I'm like, well, it's hard for me to envision a starting Power 4 quarterback that wants to jump ship to Tennessee. If this was December, I think it's a different situation. But jump ship to Tennessee at the end of April, your first practice with your new football team, your first official practice will be like, August 1st? You play Syracuse at the end of that month. And you have to learn an offense, win over a locker room, and, win the job in such a short amount of time. Why risk that if you are a starting Power 4 quarterback? Why on earth risk that when the end goal is to get to the National Football League? Remember, no SC to SEC transfer here in the spring window. So it'd have to be Big 10, Big 12, ACC, group of 5. So it kind of got me thinking, like, I don't know what the rest of this week's going to have, the story to tell. I don't know what's going on. And, what a time for my baby boy to be coming at some point. Baby watch continues. 23rd is the day no matter what, but obviously can come before then. So hashtag baby watch continues. Really, really busy time. I don't know what the rest of this week entails, but what I do know is whoever starts for Tennessee, boy, you're in a really good position. A really good position. Run game is going to be there. Wide receivers, you need to add one, but wide receivers, I like the makeup of the bodies in the room. Offensive line, I think you're going to be better. Okay? And I'm trying not to dispute. Andre Carrick had a great year last year. Cooper Mace, phenomenal football player. Javonte Spraggins had a down year. John Campbell obviously had a down year. Lance Hurd was not nearly who he can be. And you're expecting him to take a big step this season. So if we're sitting here, and who's to know if people join Nico in the portal, right? We don't know that yet. The players, Miles Kitselman, who was visibly PO'd, Arian Carter, the two young quarterbacks, they said all the right things. And I do think this team's got strong leadership. I do. But we just don't know. Who's to know right now at the time of this recording or when you're watching this on a Tuesday morning, who could potentially follow Nico Iamaleava into the transfer portal? It would be dire if a wide receiver did. If depending on the offensive line, the emergence of Sham Umarov, if you lost an interior offensive lineman, it might not be that bad. But you still don't want to. You don't want to lose an offensive tackle. You don't want to lose anybody. But could Nico's departure make a difference for anybody else? We don't know. But as this team is right now, I like the running back room. I like to make up a wide receiver. I think they need to add another body for sure, just because, again, you didn't have anybody in the orange and white game. You didn't have anybody against Vanderbilt. I like the offensive line. I think this defense is going to be good. It feels like, right now, we'll see if that changes, it feels like Tennessee loves its options in the defensive backfield behind some starters. And, of course, helping out until Jamal McCoy gets back at corner. It feels like all that's kind of ready to roll. So I'm sitting here texting my buddy, and then I'm on social media, and I'm seeing what Andy and Ari over at On3 are talking about, and I'm like, man, this is a great situation. And again, this is nothing that we haven't talked about before the Nico saga over the last couple of days. This team on the brink of a college football playoff appearance yet again. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's still 100% there. I don't know. Who's going to quarterback this team right now? I don't know. Who are they going to get from the transfer portal? Is he going to be a starter? Is it going to be Jared Merklinger? I don't know right now. So I'm not going to sit here and just blow smoke towards you and say, oh, nothing changes. You just lost your starting quarterback April the 12th, right? But keys to the Ferrari. And you might be sitting here saying, whoa, easy there, big guy. And I hear you. But how far am I off there? This is a really good football roster. A really good football roster. I love the leadership of this team. Re-energizing the head coach after he spoke on Saturday. What he's done, getting some more voices in the room, adding to his staff in the offseason. It's not all kumbaya, and it's not going to be perfect all the time. I hear you. But whoever's quarterbacking this football team in 2025, you're set up pretty well. You're set up pretty well. And I don't think I'm too hyperbolic in saying that. So, Who's it going to be? What's it look like? How does it gel together? Well, we have the next, 5 months to talk about it. You guys know it. We're going to do it all right here on Locked On Vols. So many of your questions, your voice is going to be heard, you everydayers, coming up in segment number 2 when we return right here on Locked On Vols. Hey, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like an atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in that arena. And with Game Time, you can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky-high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. So here's why I like Game Time, why I use Game Time. Last minute deals. Again, like I said, 60% off buying last minute for sports. Not only sports, but concerts, comedy shows, theater, whatever's happening in your area. Chances are the tickets being sold on the Game Time app, and the closer you wait to the event starting, the cheaper the ticket gets. All-in prices, no surprise fees at checkout, and you can see exactly what you're paying for. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, put in the redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. It is last-minute tickets. It's lowest price. It's guaranteed. Hey guys, I want to encourage you to go check out The Portal. It is a Locked On transfer portal specific podcast, transfer portal and recruiting podcast hosted by the great Brian Smith. I joined his show. It's probably out there on his channel. I posted the segment that I joined on our channel. That was up last evening, I guess. I've been on Locked On College Football this week. I'm at some point going on Locked On SEC. I've told all these guys to pick apart everything from this show. If you want to, mark out my face because I'm ugly, that's fine. But a lot going on in terms of the Nico Iamaleava story. So great stuff there from Brian Smith. Go check out his show, The Portal. It is free wherever you get your podcast. A lot of you guys just kind of sent and I'm just seeing them now a lot of times because the phone's been buzzing nonstop all weekend, and I apologize, but updates and asking for my opinions and stuff, and because again, it was kind of you're watching all this unfold in real time, and I was like, oh, there's something. Ooh, yeah, it's over. Let's move on. Oh, Josh Heupel said this. Oh, this story said this about Nico. You're watching and updating in real time. Tyler chimed in over the weekend. What the radio edits just happened. I'm sure you're all over the Nico story, but yeah, I'm going to need someone to talk me through what just went down. Tyler, sorry I'm just now seeing this. Hopefully you saw over the weekend we put out a bunch of episodes, but you weren't alone in that feeling. That is for sure. What's going on with Nico? This is from Sawyer. Seems like it's been nothing but drama since day one with him. Is it to the point to where it's too much and they agree to part ways? Yeah, that was on Friday night. Obviously, they did part ways. And, for the most part, when Nico specifically was here, he was a good teammate. He worked hard. He was courteous with the media. I don't think Nico is the issue here. It's just everything that came with his recruitments and then, the courts. And then now with this, there was kind of just a lot of, I guess the word I'm looking for is baggage, and maybe that's unfair because again, the player I think was fine. I think the player was a good team up until, and again, I know he was advised to do it, but up until he ghosted his team Friday morning, I think he was a solid teammate that worked hard. I do. James chiming in. What's the deal with? Oh, let's go to baseball here. What's the deal with Antigua bunting 3 times on Sunday? If I'm not mistaken, all 3 times were with a runner at first and 1 out. Is he doing this on his own or is it being called? I would have to go back and check the situation. He bunted 3 times to sacrifice the guy over. And I know I'm not just talking specifically about you, James, because I know you and I go back and forth about baseball. I know a lot of people don't like small ball. I know a lot of people don't like old National League baseball, but the way I looked at that on Sunday, man, he did it 3 times. He did his daggum job. Ariel Antigua's at the plate. He's your number 9 hitter. He is so far in his career, he has not been a good hitter, okay? For him to move the runner over in scoring position, albeit a couple times with 2 outs, it was 100% called. He didn't just do it. I thought he did his job. I thought he had a really good day at the plate on Sunday, so good for him. It's just Tony and Frank and Josh, and they don't – over the years, they haven't been a big small ball team for the most part. But with a guy like Ariel, I think, what do you have to lose? Because he's hitting 220 or whatever, and just trying to make it a productive at bat. And those were productive at bats on Sunday. Voldog 423 mailbag question, everyday listener. I own a company where clients pay me for services offered. Average cost is $3,000 to $5,000. I always have a contract protecting both the buyer and the seller. My question, why would the university or collective not have some safeguards in place with the millions that are being poured into the NIL market? Well, I mean, to my understanding, like, Nico's no longer a part of the football team anymore. So, like, Nico's not being paid anymore. That frees up a lot of money to go and, in this transfer portal window, go and get some help. Wide receiver, offense or cornerback maybe, defensive tackle like we talked about earlier. I mean, you can't retroactively go and take that money away. Obviously, that's illegal, but Nico was here. He played. He, for the most part, fulfilled his obligations. And so, maybe with the house settlement and, all this, you got to report everything. Maybe there's some safeguards put in there in the future to where it says, if you leave, you have to pay like a 5% of your 5% of your revenue generated or what. I don't know. It's just right now he's no longer here, so that frees up a whole lot of money. But there needs to be a whole lot more safeguards in place, and maybe this course correction with Nico can kind of start that process for sure. All right. Trevor, for Twitter Tuesday, I'm sure you've already been asked this question. Can you give us a timeline of the events that led to Nico leaving? Okay, to the best of my knowledge, there were some contract negotiations, to my understanding, that kind of went back, into December. Nico never requested papers for the transfer portal. I don't think it was anything ever like that. He did not, to my understanding, receive a bump in pay in December. Okay. But I think those talks kind of continued on since December. Now, I've seen a report out there saying that maybe it's the agent's fault or whoever. I don't know. I'm not getting into those weeds here on, like, was Nico involved? Was his dad involved? Was who the agent is? I don't know. But that first started in December. Okay, and that's your right as a player and as a person. You and I, that's your right to negotiate a new deal or whatever. But no papers were requested or anything, and you left that spring portal window, I guess, still talking, but it just kind of was what it was. And now, everything was good in spring as far as I knew, man. Everything was good, but, they were talking, they were negotiating, and Pete Nakos dropped the story about how Tennessee and quarterback Nico Iamaleava were negotiating a new NIL deal. That came on Thursday. All the backlash from fans, backlash from Nico Iamaleava's father, a family friend, Coach Landers on Twitter, denying. Yeah, it looked like the reporter from On3, Pete Nakos, was the bad guy on Thursday. And then Nico doesn't show up to practice on Friday morning. Nico can't be contacted. And then about Friday morning at like 10, 11 o'clock, it was like, okay, this is pretty much it. This is pretty much it. And so, to my understanding, nobody could really talk to him. I think he made contact with Joey Halsey. I think that's been reported that was on Friday night. And then Chris Lowe of ESPN put out a bunch of tweets talking about what, Nico's camp was wanting in terms of a renegotiated deal. Bunch of other reports throughout the day, but it was, Thursday night. Thursday night, Nico was at Joey Halsey's house having dinner as a position group, talking, hanging out, and everything was good. Friday night, that was after the report. Friday morning, doesn't go to campus, no contact, misses practice, no contact. I think he alerts Joey Halsey Friday night that he's going to enter the transfer portal. And then Friday morning, Pete Thamel first reported of ESPN that Tennessee was moving on from Nico Iamaleava. And that was pretty much that. All right. Okay. Big Vol Daddy wants to know, number one, do you know if Nico had a true agent or was it a family member, his agent / representative from the brokering the deals? I don't know specifically, but I don't think it was a true agent. I think it was more or less the latter. Number two, when did you guys in the media start hearing rumors that Nico was trying to renegotiate a deal? You always hear stuff, man. You hear stuff all the time. I didn't hear anything specifically until Thursday, but I have talked to some people that heard some things earlier in the week. But again, you always hear chatter. Like, that's why we have so many stories that have never run. Like, you always hear stuff. It's, chase, find out what's real and all, and that just obviously was real, and then it turned into something really, really quickly. What was the vibe around campus on Friday and then Saturday? Well, Friday was people were mad. Teammates were mad. Players were mad. Coaches were mad. It's like, what's going on? And then Saturday it turned into like I said on yesterday's show, we're Tennessee. We're the fan base. Nobody's bigger. following Josh Heupel's lead. Nobody's bigger than the program. Nobody's bigger than the Power T. And so it was kind of like a feeling of unity on Saturday. It really was. All right, number 4, do you believe there is a school out there just waiting to toss $4 million at the slightly above average QB today? My answer is no. Or could this end up being a big mistake for him and a lesson for future players? Somebody's going to pay him. Nobody's going to pay him $4 million, in my opinion. Depending on how this plays out, again, you are at the spring transfer portal window. Like, who on earth wants to shake everything up heading into the month of May? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So let's see how this plays out, but I think it could obviously be a lesson for future. If this was in December, it wouldn't be a big deal. We're in April, so we'll see how it plays out. Number 5, can you give us a list of QBs in the portal right now without a home, and have they heard any names that might possibly enter the portal when it opens again? I don't have the list in front of me, but I'm going to save you some trouble. There's not a lot in there, okay? Nobody that you've heard of, for the most part, I would imagine. There will be more that jump in, okay? There will be more that jump in. I haven't heard of anybody from around the country that is currently not in that will jump in, but there will be more that jump in, trust me. And I would assume Tennessee's going to try to swipe up one of those. Wouldn't make sense for a sitting Power 4 quarterback to do it, but maybe a backup, like a Joe Milton type situation a couple of years ago. And lastly, number 6, what can we do to fix this issue? What would it take, and who is the powers that be that can fix this? I mean, the NCAA, get rid of the dadgum spring transfer portal window. Get rid of unlimited transfers, but specifically get rid of the transfer portal window in the spring. We'll see what the House settlement does. Obviously, we'll see how this Nico situation plays out, but course correction. I mean, that might be kind of where we're at. Got plenty more questions to get into. I've got so many more that I'm not even going to get to, so I do apologize. But first, let's get a quick word from our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money, you start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much money I was spending online shopping, food delivery, stuff like that. I budget smarter and I save more. Plus, instead of juggling multiple apps, I can use Monarch to check my finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All that and more. That is at monarchmoney.com. There was another question here from Robo22 that I missed from last week, and he even said, don't forget my question this week, and I forgot it again. Essentially asking how many baseballs are assigned, I guess, or delivered to, or, for the university, the team that buys throughout a baseball season. I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to ask. All I know is they have baseballs on deck. And when I go cover scrimmages, there are baseballs sitting all across the park that have been home run balls or foul balls that are waterlogged and not in use, and obviously nobody chasing those down. So it would lead me to believe there are plenty of baseballs, and that is just not something that they have to worry about, obviously. All right. This is from Volin Arky. Thanks for all the work you put in for the bonus pods this weekend. I had to stay off X because it was just insane. Anyway, on to the mailbag questions. That is a good thing to do, my friend. Not just when things break in breaking news, just in general. When does the 30 for 30 come out on this Nico situation? Actually, the real question is, how about the baseball team battling back to secure the series on Sunday? Peebles with a huge shot, and he needed that more than the team did. Boy, you're not kidding, man. He needed that big time. I wrote it in my 3-2-1 the other day. I think oh yeah, here it is in front of me on my notepad. I'm still old school, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a notepad in front of me. It stays right here. I write notes. He was 0 for 8, 5 strikeouts, and 2 throwing errors, leading up to, on Sunday, his third inning single that sparked a 3-hit day, and of course the biggest hit for him, a 2-run home run in the 5th inning for Cannon Peebles that 6th inning that ignited a 5-run inning for the Volunteers. He was huge. My big takeaway for Tennessee baseball this past weekend: you went on the road, you played like crap on Saturday and Sunday, and you still beat a top 10 team for a series win. You never apologize for winning. You got a lot of work to correct some things, but boy, what an effort. That was pretty good stuff. The 30 for 30 at some point will come out because, again, this is kind of a trendsetter here, that being Nico. Okay, Braden says, here's some thoughts. Part of me is really looking forward to the challenge of Nico leaving, in a sense. The thought of how the team and the fan base can rally together and grow throughout the hardship is really cool to me. Throughout all this being such a messy situation, when I take a step back, I'm genuinely thankful we have such an awesome head coach and leadership combined with the incredible fan base. This is what being a Vol is all about. Yeah, good stuff, Braden. I mean, listen to what Josh Heupel had to say on Saturday. Clearly, he was frustrated. I thought he did such a great job. His quotes, nobody's bigger than the power T. We will find a quarterback that can win us games here. I've lost quarterbacks, all different types of quarterbacks. I've lost them all different times of the year. Ripped the Band-Aid off. I mean, he literally could not say anything wrong on Saturday. And maybe we bit too much stock, like when new head coaching, the introductory press conference. He won the press conference. Heupel won this press conference. And what's it going to mean in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. I continue to have the Monarch Money logo down here, so some free advertisement there. Shout out. Just never took it off if you're watching on YouTube. Anyway, they're a proud sponsor, so a little extra, couple minutes of pub there. But he did such a great job. And so with you in terms of how you're happy to be a fan of a program led by that guy, I'm right there with you, man. JR wants to know, what are my thoughts on Nico? Oh, well, I've got about 6 shows worth, my guy. A lot of thoughts. Ross says, this is as much of a reason for batter and ball syndrome as anything that happens during a game. We always end up in the national media for stupid stuff. I mean, you're not lying, bro. You're not lying. Ashby. Oh, he says, I'm sad. He sends a screenshot of Nico's father's tweet talking about Pete Nakos to just let us know if we need to freak out. For now, I'm just going to act like this isn't anything happening. That was Friday. Saturday morning at 10:02, he says, I'm sad. Again, so much happened in the span of just a couple of days. Ashby, I appreciate it, man. I'm not even going to get to nearly all these questions. I've got those are just the DMs. I've got, oh my goodness, I've got 20 responses to my tweet. My guy Matthew Osborne says, how was your last weekend before becoming a dad? Maybe this weekend will be the last one, but who knows? It could come any day. Anything important happen? Yeah, it's pretty cash. I didn't work all day long. I didn't make 6 episodes. I didn't see my pregnant wife at all. Yeah, it's pretty cash. But I don't root for the downfall of Tennessee at all. But and I know this story in the grand scheme of things is not necessarily great for the team right now, but this is why you're in the industry, man. This stuff's fun. Breaking news, developing stories. This is fun. It's fun to comment on it. And, it's fun. Again, I'll move on. I'm getting scatterbrained here. Okay. Sonny Vols. How important were Big Nico's people in the program while he was there? Were they really at practices or in the facilities often? I mean, yeah, they came by a lot. They were there watching practices some. Remember, they're from California, so during the season, they would fly out here, watch a game, stay for a week or so. I mean, they weren't in the huddle or anything, but they were at practices watching some. They were around. And that's kind of something Brent Hubbs pointed out on Friday. They weren't around at all over spring. And so, that might have been something we should have, pointed to, hey, what's going on here? Why aren't they around at all during spring? I'm not saying they're there every single day and they're in the meetings or anything like that, but they're around. Again, when you come to Tennessee, you stay for a little bit because you live across the country. Volboy wants to know, genuinely curious, do you think we are innocent in all the Nico situation? What do you mean in terms of Nico and his camp being the bad guys and Tennessee doing the right? I mean, I think Tennessee did the right thing. I think Tennessee approached this the right way. Hit me up tomorrow or DM me and let me know what you mean by that. Oh my goodness. My question is, what do you think is the best option for the Vols at quarterback? I've seen a lot of people say get a guy or keep the current quarterback room the same. I just want to know what your thoughts are on the situation. You can't keep the current quarterback room the same because you need another one. 2 is not enough. What I would do right now, is I'd pick up the phone. I would call Gas and More, old gas pipe, say, hey, buddy, to my understanding, he's out of football working a real job right now. I say, hey, buddy, it's your old friend Josh. Remember we started back in Orlando, and then I took the job at Tennessee, and you followed and walked on, and you've been a 2-3 second string, third string quarterback for me the last 4 years. Hey, buddy, let's run it back one more year. How much you making? How much you making? Let me triple that, and you come just be a part of this room. Compete, but more than anything, I need stability. I need a guy that knows what you're doing. I need a guy that, at minimum, if my starting quarterback goes down, I've got faith that can go and carry on and get a win like at Mississippi State last year. My number one call would be to Gaston Moore and say, hey, brother, let me triple what you're making your first year salary in your new job. Come here 6 more months, come hang out, come be a part of it, and then I'll write you a note to your employer and I'll let you go back to your life. That's what I would do, number one. Number two, get a quarterback from the transfer portal no matter what. You have to. Hopefully he comes in and competes and works and pushes Jake Merklinger, but you've got to get a quarterback from the portal from a pure numbers perspective. At the end of the day, there's going to be competition in fall camp, and for the first time in 4 off seasons, we have a quarterback battle. That is faux show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, first time in 4 off seasons. A couple more here. Sorry, guys, I don't have enough time to get into everything here. Dylan, I'll end on this one. Dylan says, after the orange and white game and the good news around Jake and George, do you think Tennessee goes after a starting level transfer quarterback or another warm body to fill the room? Okay, I just kind of hit on that. Yeah, you have to. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Jake Merklinger and George MacIntyre. I thought they both looked pretty solid in the orange and white practice / scrimmage. You can't take anything from that. Okay, you literally can't you can't touch the quarterback. So you can't take anything from that. But I'm not trying to take away from those guys. Thought George had a good day. Thought Jake did some things. You have to add to that room. You have to add to that room for sure. Okay. We'll end there. I'm sorry. There's just so many more questions. Maybe I'll answer some more on tomorrow's show. I know you guys, it's been a busy last couple of days, man, and the direction of this program the next couple of days are going to be important. Who stays on this team? Does anybody else lead? The leadership, you're going to find out how strong this leadership council is. You're about to find out. Portal opens on Wednesday. Who goes? Anybody? Who comes? Who's going to jump in that portal? What do they bring? Can they be a viable option to be a starting quarterback come fall? Are they going to push Jake Merklinger? Does Gaspod get back in the conversation? Where does Nico transfer to? How much money is he going to be reportedly making? I mean, goodness gracious, guys. This story is far from over. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making Locked On Vols your first listen, to come here, to get informed, to hang out, to be entertained, to get your Tennessee fix on. Can't thank you enough. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't, if you're just tuning in for the first time in a couple of days, go back and check out the shows from over the weekend. I mean, there's 6 or 7 out there. I mentioned the one I did with Brian Smith that's up on the channel right now. Great stuff there. Go back and check out all those shows, and so we can kind of experience this in real time. I'll try to answer some more questions on tomorrow's show. Hopefully we'll get Josh Ward for Ward Wednesday, get his thoughts on all this. Appreciate you as always. This is Locked On Vols.